Appreciate you. Just want to appreciate y'all for giving me the opportunity and wanting to speak to me tonight. I just really want to thank Rick Spielman and Coach Zimmer for giving me the opportunity. For me, playing in the NFL has been a dream come true since pretty much the age of 2 years old. And for me to get the call from the Vikings was probably one of the best feelings I've ever had. So I just want to say I appreciate all of y'all, and I can't wait to get up to Minnesota.
All right, thanks, Kellen. We'll go to Andrew Kramer.
Hey, Kellen, what was your expectation for today? Were the Vikings kind of atop your list in terms of the teams you're expecting to go to?
Yes, they actually were one of the top teams, and just kind of, I think, just based on the relationship that we kind of had and just how the meeting went, I kind of had word that they really like my game and stuff like that, and just kind of how I approached the game mentally and physically. So I definitely knew that was a opportunity for me to go, and so at that point it was just playing the waiting game. So it was just a phenomenal opportunity for me, and I super excited right now.
Mark Craig.
Yeah, Kellen, I was just curious, going to IMG and everything, how long have you been training for this day, and how long do you think it'll take you to get ready to play at the NFL level?
My dad always tells stories about him, having me throw the ball at the age of 2. So, and then my mom, I always told her that I wanted to play in the NFL at such a young age. So, I feel like I've been preparing for this for the longest time. So, like I said, I'm truly excited, and just having the experience that I have playing in the SEC against the best competition, I think that it's going to make a lot easier curve, for me than many other quarterbacks, with the experience that I have. So I'm not saying that I'm already ready for the NFL, but I'm definitely going to make every opportunity that I have and enjoy every experience and learning experience that I can make.
Hey, Kellen, you're obviously coming to a situation where they have an embedded starter here in Kirk Cousins. How do you approach that in knowing that potentially you could be the guy that's brought on to replace him in a few years? And what do you hope to learn from him?
I think that's going to be one of the biggest things. And I know, obviously I've never played in the NFL. So I think going in and being able to just grasp information from a guy who's played with different teams and has played against the best guys in the whole entire world, I think that's going to be huge for me. And just, just for him to kind of be a mentor and just learn from him, I think is going to be amazing for me. So that's going to be definitely one of the biggest things that I'm going to look forward to. One, learning the new playbook, but also just being able to learn from Kirk Cousins is going to be amazing.
Kellen, you mentioned that meeting going really well with the Vikings. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Who did you meet with, and what really stuck out that made you think it went so well?
I met with Clint Kubiak and a couple of other people. But I think it was one of the first ones that I had. And, I felt like I had a really good meeting with them at the Senior Bowl. So I think just to kind of top off with the only meeting that I had, just kind of, for them to be able to pick my knowledge, understand, different schemes that I had, with Coach Fisher down at Texas A&M, everything that Coach Fisher put on my plate. And just kind of my mental approach to the game, as long as with my physical intangibles, I think is something that they fell in love with. So, like I said, I feel like I had a great meeting, and, I'm excited to be a Viking.
Kellen, you've played in a lot of different offenses from when you started out at Texas A&M under Kevin Sumlin. You had that, air raid style. And then with Jimbo Fisher, it becomes more of, a pro set, a lot of 11, 12 personnel. Having all that experience and being able to carry that into the NFL, how do you think that's going to prepare you for handling the depth of what an NFL playbook and offense is going to ask of you?
I think that's huge. And I feel like that's another reason why I'm so grateful for Coach Fisher. Just he allows quarterbacks to have freedom, and he gives the quarterback everything at the line of scrimmage, from, Mike calls, different run plays, and getting in and out of pass or runs. And he really wants the quarterback to be the leader and the, pretty much the offensive coordinator on the field. So I think going to the NFL and the Vikings offense, definitely being able to learn from Coach Fisher, it definitely makes that, like I said, a lot easier than, someone else who was maybe in an air raid offense, earlier in their years or pretty much their whole career.
Lindsay.
Hey, Kellen, welcome to Minnesota. I'm just wondering, when you think back over your career at Texas A&M, is there a game or a moment that stands out as kind of a top memory for you?
I would probably say my last game playing in the Orange Bowl. that was my last game out of 4 years of playing, 47 games playing in the SEC. And I think just kind of knowing what type of weight was off my shoulders and, just kind of all the adversity that I've been through to get to the point of that Orange Bowl and to finish off a season at 9-1 this past year was, I think, just a true testament to, my character, my leadership, and my hard work. So I felt like that was probably one of my best feelings, in college. And, I look forward to making more memories in Minnesota.
Courtney?
How do you describe your athleticism and kind of how that translates to your game? I know, being behind the offensive line that you were at the last few years and being able to learn to take off more and run and use your feet. I mean, is that something that you feel like over the last couple of years you've incorporated more into your game?
I definitely think so. And I think, as Coach Fisher, as I started to get more comfortable in his offense, I started to learn, more to throw from the pocket, whether it's pushing the ball down the field or just getting the ball out of my hands quick. So I feel like that's a huge growth in my game. But, I've always been an athletic person. I ran track pretty much, my whole entire life, especially, in my earlier years. So I always knew what type of athleticism that I had. So being able to incorporate that, whether it's taking off and running or just even on, nakeds or bootlegs, I think it's just going to be huge for me in the NFL.
Dave?
Hey, Kellen, what quarterbacks in the league currently do you like to follow the most, or, sort of try to take pieces of their game into yours?
I would say, one of the biggest people I watched who just retired, Drew Brees, was one of my favorites to watch. And then another person, Tom Brady, I think is just overall, I think you can just pick so much from, his brain, but also just being able to watch him play is truly phenomenal. And I feel like just makes him, what type of a phenomenal athlete that he is. Obviously, we know about, Tom Brady's leadership, but I think just his physical intangibles, just how he's able to move in the pocket for, so-called not being an athletic guy. And just being able to deliver with the ball accurately, almost every time is something that I continue to try to watch and continue to try to learn from to better my game.
Lindsay?
Two kind of quick hitters here for you, Kellen. One, I'm just curious what events you ran in track since you mentioned that. And then who are you able to celebrate with tonight?
So on the other end of this ball, I have like maybe somewhere around 80, maybe 70, 80 people, just pretty much all family, friends, pretty much everybody who supported me since I was really a kid. I have aunts, uncles, pretty much everybody. But I stopped running track after my sophomore season, but I ran track up until my sophomore year. I ran the 400 and, in my earlier years ran the 800, but yeah, I ran at state my sophomore year in Texas. So that's probably one of my biggest track accomplishments.
We'll go to Chad, Courtney, and then we'll end with a few questions from Texas media.
Kellen, you mentioned Drew Brees being a guy that you watched. Obviously, he was, known for his accuracy. And I think in this process, some people dinged you a little bit on your accuracy. Is that fair in your eyes? Or I guess what's an area that you think you may have to improve at the next level?
I always think there's room to improve, one with accuracy, but also consistency. But I think just, if you look at it, literally, I think everyone to a certain extent is inconsistent. It's just about reducing that inconsistency. So I feel like that's just something that, I think but I think everyone needs to continue to work on. But, I'm a guy who loves to learn, and I'm sure Kirk is going to have so many different, tips and tools that he's learned from being in the league. So I always talk about just being able to learn. So that's going to be something, very exciting whenever I get to Minnesota.
Kellen, how do you view the situation, just knowing that, in a year or two, this could be your job, and that you are going into a situation where, as a higher round draft pick, you're going to be viewed as competition? I mean, how did you approach that at points of during your career, whether you had competition in front of you, behind you, and what's the mindset you need to have, knowing that there is a 32-year-old veteran who could potentially be fighting to keep his job?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and, I think why people, I guess, think I'm so valuable, just the experience that I have, and not just on the field, but off the field. And, I feel like one of the biggest things that I learned is, no matter whether you're a starter, a backup, or, anybody is to treat everything like a national championship or a Super Bowl rep. And so that's the type of mindset that I'll have, whether it's workouts or going into practice, just wanted to do everything to the best of my ability and just be perfect, and just pretty much wanted to grasp all types of information, whether it's from Kirk, coaches, or, even veteran receivers who have seen so many different things in the league. So I feel like that's something that makes me very valuable. And, like I said, I can't wait to get up to Minnesota.
We'll go to Greg Sherman from San Antonio.
Hey, Kellen, Greg Sherman. First off, congratulations on the pick. 45 years ago, Tommy Kramer was drafted by way of San Antonio Lee. You played in the same high school district as Lee. Just a thought on following in Kramer's footsteps, and Tommy already reaching out to me saying he's looking forward to being able to help you out on the transition to Minneapolis.
I think it's amazing for me, and obviously a person who born and raised in San Antonio, Texas. And, obviously I have a lot of love for all the people that I grew up with, but just the city. So I think just being able to, I guess, put on for, everyone who supported me throughout this whole entire journey, it definitely makes this pick in, Minnesota very special.
You were the backup at San Antonio Reagan in 2013. The starter was some guy named Ty Summers, who's now the linebacker at Green Bay. I was just curious about the fact that you guys were teammates for a year, and now twice a year he's going to be trying to sack you.
Yeah, I mean, me and him are, always been pretty close and always had a lot of respect for each other. So, it's nothing like friendly competition, I would guess you would say.
Last question. Tommy just texted me a little while ago because he was at dinner saying that he was so excited to hear about a San Antonio guy coming up to Minneapolis. Just a thought on being able to, when you hear that from Tommy Kramer, who's one of the top quarterbacks to ever come out of here in San Antonio, and he played in the same high school district together, that you're going to have that help and all that from a very famous guy.
Yeah, like I said, it's an amazing feeling. And one, just to know that, he's watching, and, I have that type of support, and obviously a lot of San Antonio people are watching, but also just, super excited to get up to Minnesota, just being able to learn, and just, it's been excited for a new change. And, like I said, whenever I got that call, is probably one of the best feelings I had. So definitely super excited.
Congratulations.
All right. Yep. Thanks, Greg. We'll go to Travis.
Hey, Kellen, congrats for almost being done with me. You talked about talking with Clint Kubiak. How much of those conversations went with the A&M connections between you and his dad, and did you get to talk a little bit about that connection very much?
So during, I guess, the evaluation process, the A&M, I guess, connection, or that wasn't, I guess, ever mentioned. But, whenever he called me, as they were picking me, that was something that he mentioned. And one of the biggest things I feel like that he talked about was just, he loved just the way I've battled back from adversity, and just was always able to grow. And just being able to have that A&M connection, I think it makes it just a little bit more special.
Yeah, and I know John Randall was the guy who announced your pick, and he's from Hearn. I don't know if you knew that, but how special is it that this kind of small world that you get to this point and you kind of can't escape this part of the country?
I mean, it's awesome. And, as he was walking to the stage, a lot of people in my house were, calling him out, yelling out Hearn, Texas. And obviously, it being a super small town, a lot of people know a lot about it, especially if you're from Texas. So just to be able to, hear him call my name, I think was just even more special.